What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 345 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. This is the Hot Tags edition of the week, where we're going to be breaking down some of the rumors and news and gossip and current events and everything else that went down in the world of professional wrestling over the past couple of days. We consist of myself, as always, Tony Mango, and as always, Robert DeFelice.
Hello, Tony. How are you today?
I am today. Let's say that. Which, totally random aside here, but do you remember the, I don't know why this reminded me of it, because I just said I am today. You remember the old commercials that were out a bunch of years ago where it was people saying, like, I'm an American and all that, and then there was the one dude and he was like, I am America!
I love those.
Yeah, I like that guy. I hope he's still America. If he is, I feel bad for him, because America's pretty shitty right now.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be America right now. He's probably over in Canada.
I am Canada. And they're like, I don't know. We might have to start putting up some other borders to get those Americans to not come here. That's how it works. You put up one border, everybody else will put up borders. Anyway, we're getting political here. Hot tags. We're going to start talking about a bunch of different topics here. We're going to bounce around all throughout different stuff because I have no real set outline. Fuck it. But I wanted to start with probably the oldest thing from this week, which is, per usual, the latest episode of Something Else to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad, and in this case, The Rock. Not on the podcast, but that's what they were talking about. Kind of putting a wrong implication there. To be honest, this was not one of my favorite episodes because I felt like nothing that they talked about was anything that I wasn't already aware of.
Yeah, that's the downside of covering somebody like The Rock, who he had such a short career as it was, and any kind of major moments have already been discussed in detail. I do still think that the podcast version was better. I think Conrad actually had a cold on this one. I don't know.
What do you mean? I mean, he was just talking perfectly normal.
No, I think he actually had a cold.
Yeah, the content was so forgettable that I literally have no notes written down for it. I don't remember them saying anything that was sort of like shocking or even really like went into further depth than what I think is common knowledge for the most part. I mean, there's a certain extent, of course, where it's like, if you didn't know that his name is Flex Kavana, then at that point, maybe you're like, oh, Flex Kavana, that's dumb. But,
well, I think it's funny that Rock picked that name, and it's just like one of those weird, well, what's your wrestling name? Oh, I know, I'll be Flex Kavana.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And then
I've heard worse, but it is pretty bad.
And then Pritchard going, we were tossing around the family names, so we're like Rocky Johnson, Peter Maivia, I think we almost called him Peter Johnson. And then he just stops and he's like, can you imagine how terrible that would have been if we'd have called him Peter Johnson?
I mean, they did have Big Dick Johnson, and, so I wouldn't put it past WWE to do that at some point, but I'm so glad that he wasn't Pete Johnson, because...
Another interesting thing was the story about Austin throwing the belt off the bridge and into the water.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I forgot about that they had said it was like a tag team title or something.
Yeah, they usually use just like old tag titles. It was probably the title, honestly, that they used for Flair when Flair actually had to give back the big gold belt in 91, and they started just using a tag team title without the words tag team on it, and they were distorting that. That's probably the same belt that got thrown off the bridge.
I always assumed that it was one of the toy ones.
Yeah, you would think that makes so much more sense.
Instead of actually throwing like a real belt, because no matter what the belt's gone through, at any point, if it's a legit belt, pretty sure that they could always put it up for auction and get money, even for charity or something. You could put damn near anything that's WWE related up for auction and it could get something for charity. Like, you could be like, hey, this is one of the Mr. Sacco things that was
actually in his pants.
Actually in his pants and actually in somebody's throat, and then somebody would be like, I'll give you $100 for it. Like, it's...
What? I'll give you $5,000. Whose mouth was it in? I don't know. Undertaker, 10,000.
Oh no, it's actually Mark Merrow. $8.
200. There's actually a lot of fun stories about belts. Like Foley tells the story that the belt that he won in '99 was the actual, title that everybody traveled with, and it was old and mildewy from being, covered in beer for days on end.
It's a good thing it wasn't Paige's belt. It would have been covered in something else.
God. But I really liked how they were talking about, Austin just gave Rock the belt. And then Pritchard was like, it was a Russo idea, and it was just, let's just, give him the belt. It's a different way to get things done.
Should have been a Bob Holly idea.
And to me, all that stuff seems so much more honest than what they do now. As much as I hate the Attitude Era and a lot of the just silliness and, not taking the wrestling seriously, at least it was way more honest. Like, we're just going to hand you the belt. Like, you don't need to beat anybody for it.
I like when Pritchard acknowledges that it's like, well, we just figured fuck it. Because it's like, all right, that at least makes it easier to stomach when they do that stuff now. And you can look back and go, wait a minute, so why did they book such and such? Oh, it's probably one of those other moments where they said, I don't know, fuck it. And like, instead of trying to, the narrative that they give nowadays is always that everything is for a reason. Everything is so planned out. Everything was, well, we really, really did think that Mojo Rawley was going to get a fucking push. And it's like, no, he wasn't. You wanted the Rob Gronkowski thing. Just admit it. And then that would be the type of thing that would be on Pritchard's show where he would be like, yeah, we did it all because of fucking Gronk. The end.
Yeah, which...
That's so refreshing.
A year and a half, but at least Mojo's getting that push, baby.
Yeah, it took him 4 weeks to beat No Way Jose for the second time and get no reaction from the crowd and everything. Yeah. I honestly
honestly.
That's what I was just about to say. I would skip this episode with
listen to
The Rock.
The podcast version of it. By the way, Tony, they're coming out with a Patreon, and I don't usually do Patreon. I'm considering this one.
What are the different things they got?
You get ad-free shows. I don't know for all the tiers.
Already.
But you get ad-free shows. I think one of the tiers will get you Conrad's notes for the shows, which is, for someone like me, I'll take it. That seems entertaining to me. And then you get to pick a bonus show and be on the show that you picked the topic of. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll take that. Be
like, for the bonus show, can you guys talk about Smark Out Moment? Be like, the fuck are those idiots?
I'll sit there and be, I'm the guy, and we've talked about the New Generation era. I'll be like, yeah, talk about Diesel and talk about why people like to shit on Kevin Nash. And even though he's honestly one of the most underrated champions that company ever had.
I see, if I were to request some kind of show like that, I would probably be like, can you please give me a rundown of, and then I would give them like the worst characters possible and be like, who thought Aldo Montoya, the Portuguese man of war, was a good idea? Who thought...
He's actually told that story.
He has? Alright, I gotta listen to that one. Like, who made the costume of Max Moon? That kind of stuff,
Told that story too. I gotta tell I'll give you a rundown.
I've been listening to some older episodes. Like, I listened to Undertaker 95, 97, and listened to Brutus the Barber Beefcake, whereas I say Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake. And, like that kind of stuff. I've been putting that on when I've been trying to sleep. And then, of course, I, run through 2 hours of it because I can't sleep. But those are a lot more entertaining once you get past those fucking ads.
Yeah.
And this episode with The Rock, skip it.
Skip it.
Let's see. Real quick thing here. WWE has filed for the trademark of Dr. Shelby. Kind of proves that.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing why they did that. They just had some random woman there instead, and she didn't say a word, and it was kind of pointless. So it's kind of like, I'm assuming maybe he just kind of couldn't make his way out there tonight, and they just had like one of the stagehands or something play that part. But it does kind of point to maybe they have a long-term goal in mind for Dr. Shelby. We'll kind of talk about this a little bit when we get to Extreme Rules, but trademarks, hot tags.
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah. Dr. Shelby in this part of the country. It's an Albany expression. Rumors that WWE might buy Evolve.
No,
I don't really have too much to say about it, because to me, it's kind of like, how much of that have we already heard? You know,
these are just rumors. It was a brief piece in the Observer that was like, yeah, talks picked up again because WWE allowed Evolve to use Adam Cole, but talks have been going around like this since the companies started working together, and you never know. They might not. It's all up in the air, rumor and innuendo.
I kind of look at it as like, all right, well, if it happens, it happens. And then we'll see. But I'm not going to be like, oh, this means that I need to start paying attention to the Evolve crew, because if they're going to, it's like, it might be total bullshit, you know?
I mean, at the very least, we know that the companies are close, and Gabe Sapolsky is a somewhat advisor to Triple H, and I know that they take a lot of talent from there, like Keith Lee we just saw at the most recent takeover. He's a WWN/Evolve guy. So, you know, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, we know that that's still a door to WWE for talent.
Yep. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Speaking of outsider talent, this was kind of confusing to me. There are a lot of people talking about that it's a surprise that Deonna Purrazzo dropped out of All In. I thought that there was an official announcement a while back that she had joined WWE.
No, in fact, they were talking. I know a fan tweeted her, "Oh, we want you for the Mae Young Classic," and she said, "Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd much rather be All In." And she, you know, she's dating Marty Scurll, one of the big Bullet Club guys. They did announce her for the show, and she dropped out last week among all these rumors that it's like, hey, she's going to go to the Mae Young Classic. If she does, you know, great. I think she's a pretty decent talent from our part of the country.
She actually went through the OTW system and stuff too.
I know.
Not 100% through it, but like D2W and you know, made appearances from OTW and everything like that. There's like a conglomerate of like a couple different things around this area that really kind of like share a lot of talent, and she was one of them. So I have no personal connection to her, but I like people from my area, you know, that kind of thing.
I think I did a poster one time, and she was on it for some promotion.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for her, but I'm just not too shocked about the whole thing. Like, I thought that she had already signed in, I don't know, in April or whatever it was. That looks like May 31st is when a lot of these news things are coming up. So to me, that was kind of like, well, isn't she already almost a guarantee for the Mae Young Classic at this point?
Maybe she was on the radar, but she was still trying to do All In to help out the guys, you know?
Yeah, it could have been one of those things where she basically signed a deal with WWE, but didn't have to pull out of All In yet. And then now it's kind of like, oh, you do realize you can't do that, Joe, right? You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about All In, let's just go here. Starrcast, the podcast convention prior to All In the day before, will be broadcast live on Fite TV.
Now, does that mean it's just the Starrcast thing, or is that All In itself is going to be on Fite?
Well, right now it's just Starrcast, but one would have to assume that All In will probably be on Fite as well.
I would assume so.
I was a little upset when I heard this, just because I've made the comment before that if you can get WrestleMania for $9.99, why does TNA want you to go on Fite TV and pay $40 for Bound for Glory? So I was hoping we'd get one of those subscription-based models to get All In. But if it ends up going on Fite TV, I'm ordering the show. I'm going to watch the show.
I'll watch it somehow. I'll say that.
And that is exciting, folks, because that means we're going to get to talk about something other than Roman Reigns on Smark Out Moment, and I'm excited.
If it's $40, I don't know if I would spend the money for it. But there's other ways.
When's your birthday, Tony? Your birthday just passed.
I just passed.
I'll buy you All In for my birthday. Because...
Shit, if that would work in a regular thing, I'd love my birthday instead of feeling all depressed and shit. If it was like, that's somebody's birthday today, June 10th, technically, or July 10th. I'm still thinking it's fucking June. Be like, July 10th, if today's your birthday, buy me something. Then by default, I guess on my birthday, I'd have to buy things for other people. But then that would be the day where I'm like, oh no, I'm sick at home. I'm sick with can't buy-itis. They'll figure something out. But as a good sign for All In, though, that they at least have an announcement of being, broadcasting that. It's another step in the right direction. They
also announced a second match, which is the aforementioned villain Marty Scurll versus the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. And that'll be a fun one. I'll give you a fun little story about this. I was doing the WrestleZone chat. We do like a live chat where people can comment and we answer questions. And right before he goes, I think one of the main matches, we can't say from who until it's announced, but I think one of the major matches is Rey Mysterio versus Okada. 2 seconds later, just announced Marty Scurll versus Okada, and it's like, okay, there goes that source.
You're like, now I said I think.
Yeah, that's kind of what we ended up doing on the live chat. It was like, oh, it was rumored, plans change.
Or you just put little asterisk typo.
Well, at least we didn't tell people that. He just told me right before we went on the air, and I just had a good laugh because it was like 2 seconds later. Marty Scurll.
More about the All In kind of thing, kind of tangentially a little bit though. More rumors that WWE has offered some pretty decent contracts to Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, which I think we hear this story about like once a month.
We hear it quarterly, I think. I think it's quarterly. You get the Young Bucks are coming.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega's coming.
And you start hearing it a lot around the Royal Rumble. You start hearing it a lot around WrestleMania. So I don't buy into it. Again, it's another one of those things where it's like, I'll believe it when I see it. If I have like WWE.com puts up a thing saying like Cody Rhodes will return, then I'll be like, oh, okay, then that's going to happen. But they have been doing more with them recently. So I wouldn't be too shocked at the same time.
So I don't think that they go for at least another year or so, because the Bucks are doing so well outside of WWE. Same for Omega. Cody should go, if for nothing else to get his last name back. Cody should go. But no, I think they're all doing great work outside of WWE, and I think if All In takes off, do you really think that they're going to go?
Well, that's the thing is, I would think, based off of what we had heard before, Omega's not even available to go until, January?
Right.
And the Young Bucks are at least a couple of months away, if I remember correctly. I don't remember for sure what the time was or anything, but the time frame wouldn't line up, even if they wanted to, for them to come in right now. It just wouldn't make any sense. If they're going to come in...
They come in now.
No, definitely not.
Talks have probably opened.
I think that they should talk, and I think that if WWE can get them at a price that isn't, if somebody like Kenny Omega, I think Kenny Omega's great. I don't think he can really cut a promo as well as some other people and stuff, but I think in the ring he's great. He's one of those people who's easily in that top tier when it comes to non-WWE talent right now and everything. So they would be crazy not to want him. But if he says okay, I want $12 million a year, then it's like, oh my God, come on, that kind of thing. at the same time, if they can get them for a decent enough price that they're happy and that they can bring them in and, of course, not put them through the NXT system. I mean, first off, you can't do that with Cody. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. But Omega and the Young Bucks, they don't need to go through NXT. They can go straight to the main roster, especially if they thought that Kanellis could go, you know?
I think if they do it, the only way to do it is AJ Styles esque, where you just hot shot them straight to the top of the card.
It has to be. They would have to go to SmackDown because SmackDown would need them more. And it's not like, oh, well, why would you waste them on the B show? SmackDown's going to need more people when they go over to Fox. So we're going to need to start getting people a little bit more used to watching SmackDown over the next, 12 months or so. Because in October 2012, when everything switches over, we're going to need to have that momentum.
Stop. Go back. You said October 2012.
Why did I say 2012?
You're
2019. So in February 1864, when Velocity is 2012, what the fuck? I must have the end of the world on my mind. WWE Armageddon coming up soon. Yeah, so I think that if we start seeing more and more of like Kenny Omega and Young Bucks doing stuff with the New Day and everything like that, it'll start looking more and more likely that it'll happen. But I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Yeah, but I just don't want to. I don't want to put a lot of stock in it. When you think about All In is going to be huge.
That's going to be a big factor.
The indie wrestling world, and I don't think. If they're making good money as it is, I don't know if they feel like right now they need that accolade of, I went to WWE. I think they're more concerned about helping the wrestling business grow on the other side of it. And then, in a couple years, like AJ did, you can go, okay, I need this. I need to check this off. And I need to, have my WWE run. But I don't think they're ready, and I don't think they need to right now. And those are the four guys who can honestly say they don't need to. And not a lot of names that have never been there can say, I don't need to. And those four can.
Now, did they tease something, because I didn't watch it, about the whole like Bullet Club is like splitting?
Okay, so at NJPW G1 Special, Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes had their match. They had been feuding within the Bullet Club and all this infighting since probably June of last year. They had their match. It was a great match. Suggest you all go out of your way to watch it. At the end of it, Omega is with the Bucks, and the rest of the Bullet Club comes out. Finally, they're united. They all do the too sweet on the stage. And I think it's funny. I think Matt Jackson goes, we're not even supposed to do that. and then the Samoans attack. And Tamatonga, Tongaloa, and their father, Haku, who all had represented the Bullet Club earlier in the night in a 10-man tag, just start beating the shit out of Kenny Omega. And then the Young Bucks try to save him, and they get the Young Bucks. And then Hangman Page, they get him. Chase Owens, the Tokyo Pimp, they get those two. Cody comes down, and they hand him a chair. And of course, Cody, this is where Cody, shows his allegiance to Kenny and the Bullet and the Young Bucks. And he goes out to the Samoans, who eventually lay him out. And then they all kind of reveal these shirts that say Bullet Club Firing Squad, leading me to believe that that'll be like the Samoan faction of Bullet Club, or like
the NWO Wolfpack.
Yeah, maybe not even the Bullet Club. Maybe they'll be like the Firing Squad or whatever. But it leads me to believe that the Tongans are going to be their own stable, which is fine because, it works. The important thing is that the cast of Being the Elite and the stars of All In are at least all on the same page in character, because it looked really weird when they were all like working together for these cool things, but then they're supposedly at each other's throats. So I'm glad they had their match. They settled it. You know, it all actually had a rational conclusion.
So now it's two factions that are separate, but on one side it's only 3 people? And the other side's got like 9?
4 now, but I say this not even jokingly. There are so many Samoan wrestlers that I bet you can even out those numbers at one family dinner. Like,
well, not if you don't grab the WWE guys, you're not going to get like big stars and everything, you know?
Like, I mean, like, you got there's Lance, NOIE, there's
like, you can't bring Manu and expect people to really give a shit.
You know, but you can bring Manu in, and you got Haku as like the godfather of the whole thing, which is fucking great because he's a scary dude. I don't care how old he is, he's a scary guy.
Now he said as the godfather of the whole thing. I'm just picturing him coming out with the
hose. That is the pimp godfather. Just like a mafia godfather.
I don't know. I mean, as somebody who doesn't follow the whole thing, I find it kind of interesting, but at the same time, very fucking confusing.
Yeah.
So you had a thing that was on your list of hot tags to talk about, but I wasn't sure exactly what you were talking about. It's WWE at Madison Square Garden.
Okay, I just wanted to talk about the house show they did at Madison Square Garden this past weekend because it was pretty big. Ronda Rousey made her MSG debut. Taker returned. He did a 6-man, teaming with Braun and Roman against Owens, Elias, and Corbin. Which, all things considered, I actually think that's a pretty good lineup. I just really wanted to talk about this show. Like, there was a weird picture that came out of Ronda training and like rehearsing with all the girls in the ring before the show. So that was pretty interesting. And I mostly wanted to get your thoughts on what do you think they're doing with The Undertaker?
I think that he's kind of at the point in the career and he's like, hey, I kind of want to do something. And they're like, okay, what do you want to do? I think that that's it. And for him to team up with Strowman and Roman, the STR Omen faction, you might as well call it that.
That's a badass team, by the way.
I mean, you get those fucking 3 together and it's like, all right, who can't they beat? But I think that that's kind of like, all right, well, get back in the ring a little bit, work yourself through seeing how good you're feeling, because he might do something at SummerSlam, I don't know, and this would be a good way to test it, but not actually rely on him holding up a match.
And this is pretty cool, too. MSG actually had the lights all decked out in purple from the outside, so it was covered in purple to honor the fact that The Undertaker was in Madison Square Garden that night. So, you know, really, really cool stuff.
Did it start out gray and then go to purple?
I would have been awesome. I always love when WWE goes to MSG, and, you know, I'm a New York kid, and I'll always think MSG is the coolest and most important building ever. I don't know about you.
You know what's kind of annoying about that? I almost bought tickets for that show.
You should. You see, you would have gotten.
I would have gotten the Undertaker again. Yeah.
And you would have gotten, you know, Ronda Rousey. How many times are you going to see Ronda Rousey in the ring? I know you're going to Mania, so
I fucking better.
At least that one.
Those tickets haven't come on sale yet, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I was like, you know, I haven't seen anything at Madison Square Garden ever. Let me see if I can get something for the SummerSlam Heatwave tour. Then I was like, it's a lot of money. And I was
You've
just never
like, been to Madison Square Garden?
Nope. Outside of like just outside of the arena, I have been, but never been inside.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have to do that at some point.
I checked that off my list at least. Also, Triple H after Ronda Rousey put up a little tweet of Roddy Piper in the garden and Ronda in the garden, and it just says "then, now, forever," and I like it. You know, I think it's all cool.
There's a sad thing to talk about. Fandango is going to be out for 6 months. He has a left labrum tear, and the saddest part about the whole thing is I don't think it's going to really factor into anything.
No, I'm wishful thinking 100%, but if we could please get a return to Prince Pretty, send him back to NXT. I don't care. If we can get Tyler Breeze as Prince Pretty again, instead of like the goofy fashion police comedy guy, which, by the way, tonight didn't seem like a good start for that.
Not at all.
Yeah, I just really want Tyler Breeze back to being Tyler Breeze, please.
I like Breezango. The fashion police stuff I thought was really funny when they were actually doing it, instead of like, hey, we're going to just put this on WWE.com where nobody's going to pay any attention to it and stuff. But Fandango being out, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't know, maybe it's actually a blessing in disguise. Maybe if he's out for 6 months, they're not going to job him out constantly. And when he comes back, then maybe Breezango gets a little bit of a push.
Or maybe you just turn them both back to their original characters. I want to see some Fandango dancing, you know, again. I mean, okay, she's doing way more important things, but can you imagine if right after being the Bee, they would have just gotten Zelina Vega to be Fandango's dance partner? Would have been great.
Would have been its, what, 5th dance partner? Because he had the brunette girl, he had Summer Rae, Rosa Mendez.
Rosa. So would have been his 4th.
It wasn't Layla for like a hot minute?
Nope.
I kind of remember her doing something like that.
Have we talked? What do you want to jump to next?
That's what I was just trying to figure out. This is a real quick one, just because fuck it, why not? Dolph Ziggler in an interview said that his original name, they wanted him to be David Diggler.
Dave Diggler. I've heard this story.
Like David Diggler, like
yeah, and
that's worse than Dolph Ziggler. How the fuck did they have something even worse than Dolph Ziggler?
This is back when a lot of people didn't say no, and he was like, no. No.
And like the persistence that they had said it needs to be DD. Why did it need to be DD? It's like, I can understand if they were going like, all right, well, we're going to call you, I mean, like, say, for instance, original name for The Undertaker was Kane the Undertaker. Because if they would have wanted him to get, like, some kind of a name, you need a cool name. You can't be Eustace the Undertaker, because then it's like, all right, fucking, come on.
Eustace the Undertaker shirts coming to T-Lo like that.
But, like, that is, all right, you're going to give him something cool. David Diggler is like, why would you be like, it has to be DD for your name. You need to be David Diggler because that's a generic fucking name. And this is around the time of like Michael McGillicuddy and all that.
This is around that time of like really bad names. And honestly, in FCW, he was just the natural Nick Nemeth. And first of all, that's such a better name. Second of all, that's his real name. Like, and it would have been so much better.
It really would have been. And I'm glad that he went with Dolph Ziggler, though, because that's better than David Diggler.
Yeah, anything is better than Diggler.
Yeah. And it's like, Dirk Diggler, like, you really didn't even want to try all that much harder. Like, everybody always did the whole, like, oh, Dolph Ziggler, I wonder why they didn't just call him Dirk Diggler. But if they actually would have went with Diggler, then it would have been even worse.
Even Dirk Ziggler. Dirk as a name is just bad.
Yeah. It's just a weird, it kind of makes you wonder if he were to have come in now, what they would have done. If he would have just been Nick Nemeth. Or if they would have gone with, you know, hey, can you have like some other kind of name? And if he would have been like, I don't know, Chase Montague or something like, you know. That sounds familiar. Is that from something? Chase Montague?
Chase Montague has to be a name. I'm
I
Googling
have
it right now.
Yeah, I have to look at that. Chase Montague. Let's see. There's Chase Bank in Montague Township, New Jersey.
Well, you're in. Oh yeah, I get it too. Yeah.
If your name is Chase Montague or Chase Montague or anything like that, then buy me something for your birthday. I guess that's how it works. What else we got here? Bray Wyatt. It seems like he's at fault when it comes to that car accident. He's been cited for reckless driving, so don't fucking do that, people. That's basically it. I'm gonna get more into this when it comes to the predictions, but I think that this might be a little bit of a factor into that match. Just saying.
And you know what? Bo Dallas, and I'll get more into it on Wednesday, but I said the stupidest thing today to myself. I'm like, wow, he does a really good Bray Wyatt. Like, he looks just like him. And I went, oh, well, fuck, that's his brother, isn't it?
Yeah, I did think the same thing a couple of weeks ago. I was just kind of like, damn, his voice is like spot on for Bray Wyatt. And it's like, okay, well he does have that connection. And this is the most entertaining thing that he's done, so at least as far as I'm concerned for something recently. But yeah, we'll get into more of that a little bit later on. Just kind of wanted to throw that out there for the hot tags. This is another one of those like kind of topics. Taeler Hendrix has been accusing Jay Lethal of pretty much holding back her career and being detrimental to her because she didn't fuck him. Which Jay Lethal,
I think she was saying that Ring of Honor was sabotaging her career.
Well, that it all boils down to if she would have slept with him, it would have been better. Which Jay Lethal, to give credit to where it's due, said like, this is total bullshit and stuff. And my gut reaction to all these are always, I don't know if I trust the allegation, but it's a possibility.
To me, I like Jay Lethal. I do. I've always been very complimentary of Jay Lethal as a performer. I see no reason that Taeler Hendrix would just make up this story out of the blue.
I don't know, because you never really know with certain people. Like, I don't know anything about Taeler Hendrix behind the scenes or anything, so I don't know if she's got like some kind of bipolar tendencies or, anybody in the world. You never really know for sure who is the type that wants to play victim for different things. But then that sucks because that's kind of like, it sucks to have that kind of mentality to say, what if she's playing victim? Because it's like, if that's true, then that's awful, But it's like, how many people do that? And there's always stories of like, guy gets released from prison after 10 years when it turns out that the person just flat out lied. And it's like, shit. Well, that ruins it for the people that are telling the truth,
Yeah, and that's the hard thing. And I really hope that the allegations do go on to be unfounded, even though I'll always kind of have this in the back of my mind, because I don't think that Taeler Hendrix has a reason to lie. And I'll go even further, and this is kind of the shit that she gets into, and it sucks to have to say this, but there have been stories like this always in wrestling. Wrestling is a shady, shitty business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
And it's not even just the wrestling industry. It seems like every industry
and every industry, but specifically the entertainment industry, and we're seeing a lot of the blowback of that now with stuff like the Me Too movement.
Right.
And it sucks. It really does, because
to clarify, it's not that it sucks that this stuff is coming out. It sucks that it sucks that this stuff has to come out and that it happened. Which I know that's where you're going with.
It also sucks that you have to clarify that. But
yeah, but some people will be like, "What do you mean it sucks that they're?" And it's like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think Jay Lethal's a great guy. I mean, like, when I say that, I mean as a performer. I don't know him personally. yeah, I hope this all goes on to be untrue. Taeler Hendrix did provide some text messages that were supposedly from Lethal the day that he told her that said, "Hey, Taeler, it's me, Jay. When you get a chance, I need to talk to you about something serious." And again, hope it's not true. Hope it's all false. If it is true, it's great that another shady part of the business is being exposed so we can move on and be better. But all in all, I want just everyone in this situation to come out better, being a better person.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of those stories that maybe within the next week, maybe by the next hot tags, there might be more behind it. You know, Ring of Honor has basically only said, we're going to look into this, which is pretty much all they can say at this point. You know, unless they know something. If they know something, then it's a different story. But
well, we'll never really know. And that's the thing, is we'll still never really know, because we're only going to know what they put out there. We won't know if there's any shady dealings, you know, I mean, all we can do is speculate and report on speculation, which sucks, but that's the position we're in. But I just hope it all turns out to be false, just because I don't want to hate Jay Lethal, you know?
This is something that you got to fill me in on. Booker T says he's not done yet.
I ran this story specifically for WrestleZone. Booker T on his Heated Conversations podcast said, you know, I never said I was done. I never said I was retired. I've been thinking about doing one more match, maybe two more matches, you know? I've never really said I was done. Now, to me, I just think he'll end up wrestling for his promotion, Reality of Wrestling.
Makes sense.
But I immediately started fantasy booking him in WWE, and I realized the one guy I want to put him with, Ambrose.
Why Ambrose?
I think Ambrose needs a good back and forth guy on the microphone, because I think that's where Ambrose shines. I think Ambrose is great on the mic, and I think he is very cerebral, and he doesn't get a lot of credit because his moveset isn't that flashy. He's more of like Steve Austin-esque, but he's mixed in with a little bit of Jericho in terms of his size and the way he moves. And I think a good opponent with some years of knowledge and good ability on the mic might bring out some great ability in Dean Ambrose.
I don't know off the top of my head who I would go with for Booker. I think I'd have to go through the whole roster and figure it out, but I don't think that there's anybody that stands out to me as like a go-to answer.
I'll tell you who they'd probably put him with. Either Elias or Rusev.
Rusev?
I would enjoy.
I could see Elias. Rusev, I don't see.
He's like, well, I just see that character of, like, you know, forget Booker T Day. Booker T Day is stupid. Who'd you ever beat? Forget the Booker Rooney. It's the Rusev Rooney. It's the, you know, and just
would be
like that.
I could see them doing something stupid, like having like him against Baron Corbin or that kind of thing. But I'm looking through just the wiki right now, and I'm like, Bobby Roode, TNA. Braun Strowman, doesn't make sense. Brock Lesnar, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Brock hit 5 German suplexes and that's it. Chad Gable, he's not the type of guy that would really carry that kind of a feud, even though I really do like Chad Gable. Elias makes sense. Jinder, I think he's fine hanging out backstage and not doing all that much else.
Shonda.
I could see maybe Kevin Owens being good.
Oh, I would enjoy that a lot.
Like that'd be kind of neat. I could see Ziggler could work. I could see it being really fun if Booker was up against Sami Zayn, and it was like he could just like put down Sami. Rollins doesn't strike me as like something I'd really love to see. Styles, it's like that's TNA again. I don't know. Maybe I would go with Owens actually as my go-to.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
How crazy would it be though if he was like, I do want to come back and I'm fighting Luke Gallows. And it'd be like, wait, what? You know?
Speaking of comebacks, there's more hype about Ray, and obviously Ray wants to work a part-time schedule. I'd be okay with Ray not doing house shows, but I think he's the kind of guy who needs that TV build. Like, he doesn't need to wrestle, but he needs to be there. What do you think about that?
For
like, just in order to build credible feuds, Ray isn't Brock Lesnar. Ray can't go and come as he pleases as a character.
I thought you meant about like Booker.
No, I mean just like Ray in general.
Yeah, I think that Ray needs kind of like some interaction with the people that he's feuding with. He doesn't necessarily need to be full on like every feud normal kind of stuff, like he's on 5 straight weeks worth of Monday Night Raw kind of thing. But I think that if you just announce like, hey, at SummerSlam, Rey Mysterio is going to fight Finn Balor, it would be kind of like, oh, that might be kind of neat. And then that would be it. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh man, but then what's going to happen? It would be like, oh, cool. So yeah, he needs a little bit more to that.
One time with Lesnar and Randy where they were just like, breaking news, Brock Lesnar is going to fight Randy Orton. And it was just like flat. And that never really went anywhere for me.
What other topics do we have here? Well, we should talk about Brock. Let's talk about the thing that I'm probably going to make the headline for this.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's. That should probably close it, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should. Actually, yeah. You know what? Fuck it. We were just talking about Taeler Hendrix. This is Enzo Amore. Let's talk about that. There's the transition.
I was gonna try not to transition from that to that.
Yeah, it's a natural one.
Thank God we're not Enzo's PR team. He's selling consensual shorts, like literal. I don't know if they're boxer shorts or just shorts with the word consensual written across the crotch.
I don't fault him for going with the flow of, hey, that's the thing that people were the big takeaway. Let me try to make some money. But at the same time, it's like, that's not a good idea, dude. Shorts. It's not even a shirt. It's shorts. So you're just kind of consensual on your dick. Come on. It's Enzo. That's Enzo.
What is it, like a sitcom? Oh, that's Enzo.
Yeah, basically at this point. Yeah, so I only have 2 more hot tags written down here. I've got Brock and I got Table for 3.
Do we have anything?
I don't think we have anything else.
Let's see. We covered Starrcast, Ric Flair underwent successful surgery for a procedure that I think it's called an ileostomy. I probably butchering that terribly, but it's he removed a part of his small intestine. It went successful. They're hoping he'll be out of the hospital by Friday. Just great stuff.
Yeah, can't say anything bad about that. Can't be like, damn, well, I lost that pool. Like it's just gonna. Always good to hear when somebody's doing well instead of hearing like we have 3 injury reports over the past week and a half or something like that. So it's like, oh, good, Ric Flair's doing better. Awesome. Table for 3. Let's go with that one. Future Empowered was the name of this one. It was Alexa Bliss, Lita, and Trish Stratus. Let's give it.
Yeah. Although Alexa's first promo was cute.
Oh, the audition tape?
Yeah, she's just cute. Like,
what did she call herself? Baby Swag? Baby
Swag. Like, it's just, come on. I think even Lita said it. She's like, it sounds like Liv Morgan. Like,
well, didn't they call her like, they say like you're trying to take Liv Morgan's thing or something like that?
Yeah, or something like it. And it does. It sounds exactly like a Liv Morgan thing.
And that was one of the only highlights that I could think of from that. It was mostly Trish and Lita just asking Bliss about herself. And like she said that, that's one other thing that I thought was kind of funny was that Nia Jax tried to feed her pet pig bacon.
The bacon thing.
which is like, oh, that's funny. Like that's probably what I would do.
Like Nia Jax, do you see how much of a bully that Nia Jax is to a poor animal just trying to convert it to cannibal? Nia Jax, shame.
I think that she did the right thing there because bacon tastes good, and if you want to be nice to somebody, you give them bacon.
Shame.
Other than that, though, I mean,
It's pretty skippable.
I do think it's kind of weird that she lets her deaf 45-pound pig sleep in bed. So if that's going to have some kind of a influence on the Sexy Superstars tournament, then I don't know.
Speaking of Alexa and her bed, Buddy Murphy just celebrated 5 years with the company. Congratulations to him.
5 years. Wow.
5 years.
Huh. Trying to think about what he's done.
Well,
Yeah,
that fucking match on Tuesday was great.
And I mean, he's great on 205 Live. This is the best stuff he's ever done. That tag team, man, in NXT, I did not like them at all.
I thought they were underrated as all hell. Blake and Murphy was great. Buddy Murphy on 205 Live is great. Buddy Murphy is great.
He really is. What do they call him? The best kept secret or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like
that's the perfect name.
This dude goes to 205 Live, and it's like, oh damn, you're entertaining as fuck.
Yeah,
kind of weird.
So that's a cool little story.
Yeah.
Now,
and
going back to 5 years and somebody who's been signed relatively for about 6 now, and it barely shows up. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar, Tony.
Yeah. All right. So I don't follow UFC. Everybody knows that. But I get all these messages, and it's all like, did you see what Brock did? And whatever like that. And I'm like, okay, let me check. Brock Lesnar goes to UFC 226, calls out Daniel Cormier. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? And I had heard right after that he's going to fight in November. Now, saying that he's entered the USADA drug testing pool, and that he's going to be eligible to compete on or after January 8th, 2019. And essentially all fucking signs are pointing towards this is obviously going to be the fight. It'll happen in January. Now we have to cancel the idea of like, well, is he only using the UFC for some kind of leverage for WWE? No, he's going to fucking UFC. But if it's in January, that doesn't disqualify him from still wrestling the whole rest of the fucking year. First thing I want to ask you, because there's multiple questions here. Do you think that this means he drops the title at SummerSlam?
I never say never with Brock Lesnar. Because last year at SummerSlam, they said he was dropping the title to go to UFC. And now that he's actually appeared there, it seems more likely. I think they should just get the title off of him.
Well, I mean, if you're talking what you think that we should do, I mean, we've been talking about this.
It's hard with Lesnar because they obviously have some kind of a good working relationship because Ronda went into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Lesnar shows up in the Octagon at UFC 226. I don't know. At SummerSlam, maybe, because he's not advertised for the Super Showdown. And that, to me, is very telling.
Well, see, he can drop the title at SummerSlam and then just kind of fuck off. Or he can retain the title at SummerSlam, just not work the Super Showdown, and they can have him drop it at Survivor Series.
I think he should drop it on an episode of Raw. I think there's more exposure there.
I'd love to see something. I mean, if that was the case, I'd love to see him just drop it on fucking next week's Raw. But,
well, I mean, but they have the out to do so. They have the fucking briefcase.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so great if like on the way like all right, we're going to try to setting up something for SummerSlam for Brock Lesnar, and he comes out with Paul Heyman, and then Braun Strowman just cashes in and beats him on fucking Raw, then it's like, yeah, you don't even have to bother about SummerSlam. Like, that would be so much of like a happy moment for me. But I'm looking on this on the brighter side of saying, in my brighter side, Brock drops that title at SummerSlam because I'm fucking sick and tired of it. And at least this is more of a reason to believe that he can't hold that title going into next year. I mean, he can, but it's like there's less of a chance that he's going to do that, which means that there's less of a chance that he's going to go into WrestleMania holding the title, which means they might as well take it off at SummerSlam. And even though I don't want to see Bobby Lashley hold it, I don't want to see Roman Reigns hold it, and I don't want to see some kind of bullshit where it's like Braun Strowman cashes in and pins Roman Reigns instead of Brock Lesnar because we need to keep Brock looking strong. At this point, I'll just take somebody else as the fucking champion more than anything, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are feeling that way. I think it's... At this point, I'll almost feel cheated if Roman doesn't beat Lesnar. Not in the sense that, well, goddammit, see, it's working. Somebody wants, somebody's rooting for Roman. It's not so much that, but I do think that it's been such a huge part of the character's arc for the last 2 years that he should probably fucking beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, it's just a logical thing to do.
He deserves that. If he doesn't get that, that's just another knock against Roman. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I hate hot potatoing stuff, but like I'd be cool with Roman beats Brock, gets massively booed on Monday Night Raw, and then Braun Strowman says, I want to cash in and I want to fight you at fucking Hell in a Cell. And then he beats him at Hell in a Cell and Braun Strowman's champion. Like, I'd be cool with that even. Like, there's a lot of ways that I'd be cool with stuff, even if it's like, that's not the way that I would want it to go, because for it to go the way that I wanted it to go, we'd have to go back to Fastlane when Goldberg won, you know? But as much as I think that there are negatives when it comes to this like that, one of the positives I have to say, UFC is not all that entertaining to me because I find it just, like, I don't know any of the people. I think that they're kind of boring as it is. I find the fights a lot of the time to be very boring. As much as I hate Brock Lesnar in WWE, I love Brock Lesnar in UFC.
Yeah.
That fucking promo that he cut about just like, oh, they're a bunch of pussies and fuck you and fuck you. I was just kind of like, oh my God, I love this. I want him to beat everybody up. It's a weird dynamic where he comes in and he does that on WWE and I'm like, oh, this is goddamn frustrating. He does it in UFC and I'm like, this is my favorite fucking guy.
No, but they won't let him do it in WWE. I love when he opens his mouth and he's just like, fuck you, you're a bitch. Well, that's probably what he would say. I believe that.
It's that simple. He's like, his promo style is World Star. Like, the kind of thing where it's just like, you're not going to get anything eloquent out of him. He's not going to be talking about how, like, yeah, this person's a fighter, but I think if I take him down in this way, he's just going to be like, he's a little bitch, I'm going to fuck him up. And it's just going to like, all right, just
last
do
time, it. He goes, I just won this fight. I'm going to go and get on top of my wife.
That's so fucking awesome. I love it. I don't know. I root for the bad guys in so many different things, and it's like, real life, Brock Lesnar is one of the fucking bad guys, it seems. I hate him when he's fucking around with my WWE product, but not enough to where I'm going to cheer anybody against him in WWE, because that's the narrative, and then it's like, oh, you put him up on, CM Punk does his fights, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to root for CM Punk. Brock Lesnar's going to do this fight in January. I'm going to be in the basement going, oh, I want Brock Lesnar to fuck him up. And I don't even know who Daniel Cormier is. I have nothing against the dude. I have no idea who he is. I thought he was Daniel Cormier until I looked it up. That's how little I know about him.
Do you think it's wrong that he didn't, have the title with him? I know some people have complained about that.
I think it would be neat if he did. That'd be kind of cool.
Okay, you cannot tell me that it hasn't been kicked around in Vince McMahon's office or a writer's room or something. They've thought in their heads, can we have Strowman cash in after Brock wins or loses his fight?
That would be kind of amazing. I mean, imagine the confusion and everything.
Oh, the fucking crowd would shit.
Oh, they would hate it. They would throw so much shit into that octagon. They would be requesting so many refunds. It would be impossible, but I'll do you one better even. Brock Lesnar is hanging out with... He has a kid, right?
Yeah, he's got a few.
So he's hanging out with his kids at Chuck E. Cheese. They're in the ball pit.
Oh, God, they hated what happened at the UFC fight because they were like, "Oh, this is too staged," because he called out Lesnar, and Lesnar gets in the octagon, and he pushes him, and then, "Oh, this is too staged." Bubba Ray tweeted, "This was a work. What a work this was. UFC needs Lesnar, and they know it, and their fans are." I'll read you the tweet verbatim. "A complete work. Reminded me of the scene in Rocky 3 where Clubber calls out Rocky in front of the whole city." UFC needs Brock. They and their fans are just scared to admit it. Pro wrestling's greater than MMA.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about staged elements. I know the violence is still real. I know the combat of it is still real. It's 1,000 times more entertaining if there's real beef.
Yeah, because then there's actually a reason to want to see one of the people win instead of just, okay, I'm curious who will win.
Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber one time had a fight, and they told this whole story about how they'd kind of come up in the business together, and there was some legit feuding there. And I watched that fight because I was like, I think that these guys might actually try to beat the fucking shit out of each other till one can't move anymore. And I watched that fight, and I like stuff like that. I will say that I think Brock Lesnar is better in the MMA world. I think Brock Lesnar is more of a pro wrestler in MMA than when he's in pro wrestling, and I think that's awesome. Was it a work? Probably. Do I care? No, because it's entertaining to me.
I mean, you can see the people smiling when he's doing it.
I'll give you a funny story. I posted the Bubba Ray tweet on WrestleZone, and I headlined it, WWE Hall of Famer thinks UFC incident was staged, or something to that effect. And somebody added me on LinkedIn, and the message said, "Wow, Robert, does a UFC Hall of Famer thinks it was staged? Does anyone under the age of 2 not think it was staged?" and he's like, "I enjoy your work, but your headlines are terrible. But maybe you don't make them." And that made me laugh.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I did make that headline, but you have to make it interesting. If I just said, Bubba Ray said this was staged, you probably wouldn't click on that. So
yeah, you click on the article and it just says, "Hey, the title."
Exactly. So you got to kind of keep it interesting, and that's just my funny story about that.
I think that this is another story that we're going to have to hear a lot more about to get to know what the plans are going forward, but we're going to know more about this even in the WWE context when it comes to Extreme Rules. And that's going to be coming up later on this week, which means, of course, that we're going to do our predictions later on this week. And then the post-show, those are two of the next things that you're going to be looking forward to. That's going to be on the channel, as well as the round 3 discussion of the Sexiest WWE Superstars tournament. So if you want to be aware of when these things come up, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and ring the bell for notifications. You could also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment, and follow anything else that's happening on smarkoutmoment.com by subscribing to the RSS feed or, any other kind of methods that you've got going on like that. Real quick plug for another thing that I've going on. fanboysanonymous.com. I've been working on a bunch of different stuff over there for just like as much content as I can find the time to do, and hopefully I can try to figure out some more time to do like some actual podcasts other than just movie reviews and stuff, but can't make any promises right now. Follow all the other kind of freelance work that I do. You'll find links to them on shit, just look around. And I don't think that I have anything else that I necessarily need to plug right now, but if I think of anything, I'll go to it. So anything you want to toss out?
Follow WrestleZone.com for your daily wrestling news. I am on the shift from 12 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. So, that's where I'll be when I'm not doing stuff for Smark Out Moment. I also have done the WrestleZone live daily chats on the Facebook page. So go ahead and check that out and click those notifications as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice. Real quick, that's DUDEFELICE. I know some people have been having trouble with that. And I think that's all I got right now. Might have more on Wednesday. You never know.
All right, everybody. So thanks for listening to these hot tags. Make sure you leave your comments below and tell us what you think of all the things that we were just talking about and anything else you want to toss out, because why not? And we will see you when we see you. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.